Welcome back. We're here with AHT on the road, broadcasting live from the United States Arabian National Championships in Tulsa. I'm Scott Benjamin, and it is a pleasure here to have with me this morning my fellow Canadians. Welcome, Murray Popplewell, Dana Romine, and Tex Cam. We're going to speak today about Canada's National Arabian Championship, but prior to that, I'd like for them to all just give us an idea of how they get involved with the Arabian horse and why they're still involved all these years later at such a high level within the breed.
Hey, Scott, thanks for inviting us in. I'm getting old because when I think about how long that I've been in the horse business, it's been since 1979. And we went to, me and my dad, I think I was 13, 14 years old. We went to a local fair north of Edmonton where I live, and we saw, it was all full of quarter horses. And there's this one lady had an Arabian in there. And my dad, who had quarter horses at the time, he was mesmerized. And he'd always wanted an Arabian. So at the end of that fair, we went out to her farm and we bought a weanling colt who ended up being by a stallion called Bay Sage, who was Bayabi's son out of Ronteza. And that sort of started the whole thing for us, and it hasn't stopped since. And yeah, I've been the president of the Canadian Arabian Horse Registry now for about 15 years, and it's really been one of the phrases that Murray uses a lot is a labor of love, and it truly is, and it's really fueled everything that I do in the horse business. I joke, everybody that knows me, that every few years I get disgruntled and I'm getting out of the horse business. But then when I have a good sleep and I come back, I get in even deeper. It's just I can't get it out of it's who I am.
How about yourself, Dana?
It's good to be here. I actually was a city girl, not from the farm, on the farm at all. Had a friend in grade 1 that had Arabians. So on sleepover nights and on the weekends when we'd go there, I'd have to go with her the next morning to go to her lesson. And eventually on one of those trips, they put me on a horse, and I haven't been off since. I got, much to my parents' dismay, I turned into that farm kid that only wanted to be at the farm and be around the horses. And I was barely born when he got into it, but I've been into it for 30 years, and it really dictates my entire life. I'm a veterinary technician, so I went down that path, working with horses, dogs, and cats. Operate a breeding farm up in Canada, Salisbury Farms. Help operate a training farm up in Canada, Tamanic Farms. And I'm also one of the board members for the AWPA. So this afternoon and tonight are very busy for me with those classes running. So
You are busy indeed. Thank you, Dana. Murray, how about yourself? We got to know a little bit about you in the farm interview, but tell us a little bit more.
Shirley and I started 20 years after Tex was in it, and we've been at it for 25 years. So that tells you about how long Tex has been at it. But we're just happy. We wish we could have done more and started earlier, but we love the horses.
We're grateful that you started when you did, Murray. Absolutely, very much. You and Shirley both. So all three of you have been instrumental in inaugurating, in an incredibly short amount of time, you must be commended, Canada's National Arabian Championship, which had a very successful run in Red Deer, Alberta, in October earlier this month. Is that right? Or was it the end of September? End of September. The days all seem to run together. So it was the end of September. Can you please tell us a little bit about the show, the success of the show, what the plans are going forward? I know we've got some dates already set for next year. The word from everyone who was in attendance was that it was amazing. I would have expected nothing less from a Canadian-run show by Canadian people we know and love and trust. So just give us some feedback on that show and what happened and how it all unfolded.
I would like to start with that because I got a call from Tex Cam when the show was canceled. And
in Brandon, the Canadian show.
The show was canceled in Brandon. Tex gave me a call, and I'm glad there's people like Tex and Dana that have the vision that I can follow because they had it. And they phoned me, and I said, we're on. And it was a tremendous show, but it was these two that had the vision to carry it forward. And I'm glad there's people in the industry that do that because I can follow. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate over the last 20 years, through Murray and Shirley, I've met a unique group of individuals from northern Saskatchewan in a little tiny club called the Carrot River Valley Arabian Horse
We
Association.
know them well, absolutely.
And yeah, exactly. And these people are the salt of the earth. Most of them were volunteers at Canadian Nationals for several years. And through that group, I was able to get in, and they don't just let anybody in. It was a bit of a hazing to get into that group. They're very close guarded, and they're almost like family. So when we had heard that the show was the numbers weren't great, so we, the talk at our breeder show that we run in July was that, well, geez, if the show goes, it might be the last time it goes. So a lot of the volunteers came up to us and said, hey, like, if you guys want to try and put on a show, because everybody at the show is talking about what the future is, what's going to happen. And so I said, yeah, well, we'll have to just wait and see and let everything play out. Within a few days of us finishing our show, AHA came out with the announcement that the show was officially canceled. And then my phone, my Facebook messages, texting, it just lit up with everybody saying, what are we going to do? We can't go through another year without a national show. It was 3 years in a row. So I got on the phone. I phoned Dana. I said, what do you think? Do you think there's anything we can do? And she's like, yeah, definitely. I'm in if we can put a group together. So the next call is I phoned Murray and Bob Waslick. Bob Waslick is the president of the Carrot River Valley Association. He's also on our board of directors at the registry. Dana's our secretary-treasurer at the registry. Bob's the vice president. Murray's been involved with us in putting on our breeder show before. And so we just sort of circled the wagons with people that we knew that could get the job done. And I won't say that it wasn't a lot of work, because it certainly was, but we were able to put this thing together. And if you know, I guess, any of us, and again, you see how Murray does things, nothing is halfway. So we said, if we're going to put this show on, it's going to be a class act. And a lot of people, I don't think they knew what to make of it. They didn't think that we could pull off a show in 8-10 weeks that would look like a national show. And that was really our goal. And the support that we had, Scott, was just unbelievable. We had people coming out of the woodwork. I mean, rarely do you ever beat volunteers off, because we just, it was amazing, the people and the goodwill that came with that show when we said we were going to do it. And it was fantastic. I don't know what else to say. I'll just pass the microphone around and just let the other two just sort of talk about the goodwill that came in the whole event, organizing it, once the show started, as we went through, and just it seems that at times, it's tough to put on one of these events, and nobody had a complaint at that show about anything. They were so grateful that we had a show, and there was people crying at the event just out of extreme joy. I haven't witnessed that in 30 years.
I think you could see that joy in the video footage and the photos that came out. It was palpable even from those images, right? Truly, just an authentically Canadian experience. What was your experience, Dana?
The biggest thing that I went into this whole thing with was it was going to be nothing less than a national feel. The Canadians deserve that. We needed that. We haven't had that in years. And for, I would say, 95% at least of Canadians, that horse show is the end game for the year. It's what everybody works towards their entire year. So when the announcement came out and horses were getting pulled from training and everyone was basically ending their year at the start of July, we decided we had to try something. And it meant doing things differently and not doing things the way that they have traditionally been done to be able to pull it off and make it successful. And it took the right people, like Tech said, the group that were able to pull together, they just all jump into their roles and go. And it ended up being extremely successful for everyone that was there. And we hope that it draws even more people going forward, because we do hope to grow it from where it was. Murray can talk about how we're switching buildings and trying to grow things in a different way.
You know, the Red Deer facility is very unique. It's got a lot of big buildings there that they're willing to set up and make stalls in and warm up arenas. And the facility was very open for us. And so we took a look at that big building, and it has to go there. And so we committed to go to that. And yet, if we feel that we have to, for some other reason, get smaller, we will keep that arena, but we'll let some of the other main arenas go and use it. But we're in good shape. We're happy for it. And I just want to tell you, the experience of that show relit my fire about the Arabian horse. There was a granddaughter, a daughter, and a grandma, all showing horses, and the granddaughter won a championship, and they were all crying at the end game. That's what made the show for me.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I remember going to Canadian Nationals and hoping we made a judge's card, and that was the big thing. And so this was exactly that for us, and we want to push it forward.
Yeah, and the Westerner facility really lends itself well to that, doesn't it? It's easy, it's easily accessible. It's a friendly community. That Centrium is going to be a great spot to host those championship classes next year. There's so much room to grow, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, Murray. It's just great to have a show that feels Canadian, run by Canadians, with this authentically Canadian joy and atmosphere and energy about it. So.
Hello, Canada.
Exactly. So what are the plans going forward next year?
We have plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will move into the Centrium, run some of the classes in the Centrium, potentially run some of the classes in the other arena that we have used before. August 13th to the 20th, Westerner was able to change some things and move some things around so that we do get summer dates, which in Canada we got very lucky.
Is essential. That's
we got
exactly
very lucky at the end of September. It was beautiful, which helped our show for sure. So we're going to move forward with the same path and the same ideas, and just hope that we can grow it and get more people involved.
And just clarify for me. It's as full a slate of classes at a national championship show as you can offer, correct?
Absolutely.
There's Sport Horse, there's Working Western, whatever you can.
Sport Horse,
Hunter
Working
Jumper.
Western, the Ranch, the Hunter Jumper.
Excellent.
The main ring classes. What we did do differently is we didn't offer all the age splits that we traditionally see, so that we could have full classes and still have a competition. We awarded top 6 rather than top 10. We scaled that back just so that it's truly a horse show.
Absolutely.
And
A national championship horse show.
a national championship horse show, exactly. And we had a few classes on the edge. I think my schedule will have some cuts in it for next year.
Excellent.
Because we had a few pretty good-sized ones that we'll have to work with. But we hope to have all of that schedule, judges, all that type of thing, the plans announced before the end of the year so that everyone can plan appropriately for 2023 and coming up across the border.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Tex, about the future of the show?
I think they've covered it off fairly well. Yet we're excited of having this show, Scott, and I think the biggest thing is what our passion comes from is being Canadian. And the show, we've always said the show needs to be about Canada first and foremost. Whether that show has 50 horses or 500 horses, the show has to go every year for the sake of Canada. And we want all of our, American brothers and sisters, as I call them, to be at that show also. And we're going to make it as easy as possible for them to get there. For right now, the show will be staying in Red Deer, at least for the next several years. Probably our biggest concern is, will we outgrow the facility at some point?
Yeah.
I guess that'll be determined, and that'll be something we can cross at that point. In setting up that show, we had so many volunteers, as I had alluded to a little bit earlier, but also judges and all kinds of vendors came to us and said, hey, what do you need to help get this thing off the ground? And I guess I'd like to announce it here and let the cat out of the bag a little bit, is you were one of them that actually came to us and said, hey, what can I do to help you? And the other one being Terrell O'Shea, and Terrell runs the Scottsdale show in the Vegas World Cup and has all this experience. So we've got this experienced group that put it on this year, but now we have even more experienced people coming on board. We're not sure what everybody's role is going to be, but we've got a team that I think is first class all the way. And thank you so much for stepping up and offering to help.
Tex, I just want to thank you for inspiring us Canadians who have gone abroad to come back home and help and want to be part of something that's truly amazing. I am so excited about the future of this show. I'm so excited about the fact that it's back in the hands of Canadians and that AHA is going to help us support this idea and drive horses and participation at this event that is truly Canadian in its origins. And we're going to grow this from the grassroots up, and that's where
and I
it
think
belongs,
that's what
right?
a lot of people didn't realize when Terrell and her husband actually came up to the show and spent a couple of days there. And a lot of people don't realize that Terrell is from Grand Prairie, Alberta.
She absolutely is.
You know, and you've got your roots to Alberta, and you know, we're all Canadians pulling the oars together on this thing to make this into a first-class show, and that's what our goal is, and will be year in and year out. And we need new team members to keep this thing going. So thank you. Thanks to Terrell. Thanks to everybody that stepped forward. All the judges that stepped up to offered to judge this thing. And I mean, I was a big ball baby on our opening ceremonies. It was tough. When you look,
very emotional. The footage on the video was very emotional to me just watching. So you weren't the only ball baby. I can assure you.
No, there was people in the crowd crying, and it was tough to get through it. Yeah, just because it meant so much to all of us, and that's the passion that I think all of us on our group bring to this, and the people felt that, and even people. I joked at the show. People that I know that don't like each other were sitting around tables laughing and telling jokes, and it brought everybody together in a sense of community that I haven't seen in decades.
Well, and that's when you know that the show's been a success. That's what the original World Cups were like as well. It's an opportunity to bring everybody together for a shared common cause, and that's why I think the future of this show in particular is incredibly bright, because you guys are going to do that. You're going to continue to do that with, you know, your own authentic Canadian flair for, you know, kindness and inclusivity, which is going to be fantastic.
I've always said when I got involved with the horse shows with Murray and Bob, and then Dana came on a year or two later, if it's not fun, I don't want to be involved.
No, for sure.
It's
too much work. It's too much work to not have
it
fun.
It certainly is. It is.
As we know, on day 8 of the U.S. Nationals, it's too much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not fun, it's too much work. That's
exactly,
right.
Exactly. And life is far too serious as it is to take your leisure hours and make that serious also.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud to be involved with the team that I have around me, and I see nothing but success moving forward.
Yeah, I see the same. I really appreciate that. Once again, this is Scott Benjamin for HT on the Road. I'm sitting here with 3 amazing people who you'll see a lot more of in the future. Murray, Dana, and Tex, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.